Hey guys, Phil here for Hikesland. In the summer of 2016, I was going to do a long hike on the Oregon Coast Trail. My original plan was to start at the Washington border and hike south all the way to the California border. The reason why I didn't end up doing that is because I wanted to participate in the 48-Hour Film Project, which is a film festival that takes place every year in different cities all over the country, where different teams of people have 48 hours to write, shoot, edit, and completely finish an independent film. And I'll put the link to the finished video below. I had a lot of fun, but the time frame for my trip shrank down a little bit, so I decided I still wanted to do the hike, but I started a little further south. Now, for the gear that I took on this hike, I took almost the exact same gear that I took on my through hike of the Appalachian Trail in 2011. The only major difference between the gear that I took on the Oregon Coast Trail and what I took on the Appalachian Trail is the boots. On the Appalachian Trail, I took traditional 3/4 hiking boots, and on the Oregon Coast Trail, I ended up wearing New Balance trail runners. They're super comfortable, great lightweight shoes, but as you'll see in these videos coming up, they might not have been the best choice. So I'll put the link to my gear guide below in the description. In these upcoming videos, I'll show you some pictures I took while I was doing my hike, and I'll try to get into all the challenges and all the best things about the different sections of the trail. At the end of each day, I try to record a 45-second to 1-minute video where I talk into the camera and basically try to describe what it was like to hike that day. To start my journey, I took a 2.5-hour bus ride from Portland to Tillamook. I was happy to be on my way, and I was excited to see what the trail would be like. Once I got to Tillamook, I had to make my way 11.2 miles to Cape Lookout State Park in my first destination on the actual trail itself. It was a beautiful day, and I ended up walking some of the way there. But when the shoulder for walking disappeared, a nice old man offered me a ride. Cape Lookout State Park was amazing. There were huge crashing waves right up to the cliffs with excellent campsites and public areas. The weather was perfect and I got to camp early enough to make dinner and enjoy the park. One cool thing about state parks in Oregon is that many of them offer hiker and biker campsites for a reduced fee or even for free. After setting up camp, I spent the rest of the evening taking pictures and checking my maps as I planned for the next couple of days on the trail. I just finished my first day on the Oregon Coast Trail and I'm here at Cape Lookout State Park. It's really nice here. Temperature's great. I can hear the ocean right near my campsite, which is really cool. I got a ride here. I hiked probably 9 miles on the road, and then I got a ride from an older gentleman, which was nice because there was no shoulder on the part of the road that I was hiking on, so it was kind of getting a little sketchy. Yeah, so I'm going to try to get an early start tomorrow. Feeling good right now, and just hope tomorrow's as good as today. All right. On my second day, I traveled 33 miles to the Devil's Lake Campground. It was a gray morning, and I followed the trail up onto the cliffs, through massive forests, and eventually onto an empty beach. This day had a ton of beach walking, and by the afternoon, what was a gray morning turned into a hot sunny afternoon. Hey guys, I cut away from the presentation with the pictures and the video that I shot on this trail to me sitting in this chair because I want to make this part feel more important, because this is a really important part of the Oregon Coast Trail hike. Maybe I'll even change the color scheme and put some important music in the background. Maybe I should have worn a tie or something, but this is about the maps for the Oregon Coast Trail. The maps that I'm talking about are available on the Oregon government website, and they break down the whole Oregon Coast Trail starting in Washington and go all the way down to the California border with a different map for each section. At first glance, these maps look okay. I mean, there's not a lot of detail, but it shows which sections are beach walking, which sections are road walking. Sometimes there's a helpful little tip about tides and stuff like that. But on this part of the trail that I'm hiking on right now is where I first noticed that there's a pretty big problem with these maps. First of all, the mileage is way off in some parts. And by way off, I mean a couple of miles. But when you're hiking with a 40-pound pack on your back, a couple of miles is a long way. Now, the problem I ran into on this particular day was that there was supposed to be a turnoff to a trailhead that led through the woods about a mile down this road. Now, I looked for this trailhead and it wasn't there. Now, it could have been a secret trailhead, you know, where you had to like bushwhack through the bushes or cut through someone's yard or walk down to the end of a dead-end road and there it is, something like that. But from just like following the maps and looking for the trailhead, it wasn't there. So I missed that whole section. So because the trailhead wasn't there, or the sign had gone taken down, or something like that, I ended up walking down Route 101 for longer than I thought. And walking down Route 101 in this section of the trail is not fun. People are going about 60 miles an hour. There is no shoulder, so you're trying to like not fall into the ditch or be standing in the road, which is unsafe. The sun started going down, and I found it to be a really frustrating part of the trail. And this is when I first realized that these maps might not be the best thing to rely on. So I set my pack down and I started hitching. Luckily, after about 10 minutes, somebody picked me up and drove me the last few miles to the Devil's Lake campground where I spent the night. At the end of the day, I was happy to be in a safe place where I could set up my tent, get some fresh water, get some rest. I ended up calling Courtney and telling her how frustrating the day was. I remember saying to her, even though this trail is presented like you can through hike it from Washington down to California with some road walking in there, it actually doesn't feel like a trail you should be hiking on, because a lot of the road walking, you're just walking down a highway for a long time. There's no part to be actually walking. Even though it was a super challenging day mentally and physically, I wanted to continue, and the next day I was ready to face more challenges and head back out on the trail. Slam that subscribe button and check in next week for part 2 of the Oregon Coast Trail.